In this video, I will teach you guys how to solve a system of inequalities, in this case, linear inequalities. We should be familiar by now uh, with graphing an inequality, and if that is the case, this is actually a piece of cake. So you will draw the region representing that inequality and in one color or shading, like say with lines vertical lines, and you will do the other one in a different color, or if you don't have two different colors, like shading in maybe with horizontal lines. So you will see that right here I already did like the first one. First of all, it's important to notice that because this is greater than, I'm gonna have to graph a dashed line, so that I decided beforehand, before starting to draw the line. And here is the line. The y-intercept is -2. So you can see that the y-intercept here is -2 and the slope is 1. So I know that is a 1 because x times 1 equals x. So I draw that line, it's a dashed line, and I shade in red. It's probably hard to see with vertical lines right here. So all of these are like, you know, all this part which is above the line is shaded in red. Then I do the same thing with the other one, and that's this one right here. That's this line. In this case, I know it's a solid line because the inequality symbol is less than or equal to. So, and in this case, I need to shade in below the line. So I'm gonna see like all of these in blue. I did it here like with horizontal lines so that you can see which region is double shaded. Sometimes when you have to decide like which region to shade in, please, I recommend you to use like a paper like this and put the middle point on the line that you are drawing, and you can easily see that in this case, if my inequality said y greater than, I would have to shade in above the line. Whereas if I had to draw, like in this case, y less than, you can see that right here, then I'm gonna shade in below the line. So that's kind of a rule of thumb that we do. So when you do that, there will be a region that is double shaded. In this case, is this kind of triangular shape right here. Notice that this boundary is included. So meaning any point here will satisfy both inequalities, this and that inequality, whereas a point on the red line will not, because this is a dashed line. So it's also important to notice that, when we say that a point here is a solution or that satisfies both inequalities, that means that if we consider the x coordinate, let's say that the x coordinate of this point is A and the y coordinate of that point is B, when we do A minus 2, the answer will be less than the y coordinate, which in this case is B. All right. So that's kind of a relationship between the x and the y coordinates of this point. Also, we will notice that if we did the opposite of A plus 1, then that answer will be greater than or equal to the corresponding y coordinate, in this case B. All right, so that's what we call the solution of the system of inequalities. So when sometimes you have like, let's see that by using Desmos, I did the same thing here. So it's kind of, well, this is example 2, so let me get to example 1 now. So maybe I need to hide this from now and go back to example 1. So is way easier because all you gotta do is type it in, and then the, the computer will do it for you. Then if you do this, the computer does it in color too. So if you do the second one, that one is in blue. So now you know that the double shaded region represents the area where the solutions are. So if you use this kind of notation, then maybe in class I will teach you how to do it, how to get those symbols there. You can see that we are talking about that purple region. So that purple region is the solution and nothing else. So if we were to leave that color only, you can see that the points on the line here are included. And I can tell that because it is not dashed, but points on this border line are not included. Okay, so and here's an example of a point that I chose there, but maybe I'll do it in class so that the video is not too long. Um, Sometimes though, when you're trying to do it, let me hide this for right now. So when you're trying to do a line, so you go like, okay, let's graph this region y greater than or equal to negative x plus 2. I know my solid line. I know the y-intercept. I know the slope. And I know that it points above the line. And I try to do the other one. All of a sudden, we find ourselves in an impossible situation because there is no point that is up in the blue region that is also in the green region. So that sometimes happens, and is we say in this case that this is a system that doesn't have any solution. So there is no a point that is in both regions, blue and green. So just like when we solved systems of linear equations, we found some systems without solution. Then you can find the same here. Um, so the last example would be like when sometimes they and just pretend that you don't know the inequality there, please. So sometimes they give you something like this, and they ask you like, okay, this from this graph, write the system whose solution is this graph. So we know the solution here is double shaded. You know, only one color is blue, the other color is red. When you combine both, then you get this solution over here. Okay, so it's again, it's like a shade. In It's a shape in a triangular form. But you know what you can do is you actually find the y-intercept of each line, and you find the slope. In this case, you can see the slope is 2 over 1, and the y-intercept is 3. So you know that the equation will be y, the inequality actually will be y less than, because we are graphing below the line, less than 2x plus 3. Um, so slope is 2 over 1. And you can do the same thing for the other one. You can find the y-intercept, which is 4. And if you find another point, here is a good point, you will know that the slope is 1 divided by negative 1, or negative 1 divided by 1. So it's negative x plus 5. In this case, we're um, shading in the region above, and I know that above means y greater than or equal to. So I did it here so that you could actually see. So here is the y-intercept for the first line, and here is another point where I can see clearly that the slope is 2. I need to go 2 up, 1 over. 2 over 1 to get this inequality here. And the less than, I got it from the fact that the red region is below that line. And same kind of thing I did for the other line. So here I found the y-intercept, 0, 4. I found another good point so that I could find the slope, 1 up, 1 left. So positive 1 divided by negative 1, which is negative 1. So that's how I get this negative x. Remember, that's negative 1 times x, same thing. And because the y-intercept is 4, then I know that I need to add 4. In this case, I chose greater than or equal to because I know that the region that is shaded in is above the line. So we come up with a system from the graph. So we kind of reverse the process. In this case, we were not finding the solution, we actually were given the solution and we were finding the system whose solution was represented here. So that's the end of it. So I'm gonna have you guys practicing from Excel. And for next class, I hope you guys are ready for the test.